Recording in
really reflecting on,
sorry.
My heart has been really, I'm sure like yours, reflecting on the nation and what's going on in Afghanistan, and just been very prayerful. I know you all are too, those sweet innocent lives and all that's going on. I won't go into the politics of it, but I just think that we need to intercede, and I will pray for today's meeting and my brother Brady and everyone that's on. So if you'll just bow your head and close your eyes, we will go before the Lord. Father, we thank you that all things come together and all things work for good. And Lord, I know that you have a reason, a purpose, and a plan for all the things. And Lord, we just thank you for today. We thank you for everyone that's on this call. I thank you for the life of Brady and his beautiful family, Dad Dave and his mama, and all that they do, and just such a gifted family. I just bless them today. And Lord, everyone that's on this call, you know everything that's going on in our lives, whether it's corporate or business or family or personal, lives that are being lost due to COVID, and just so many things. And our hearts, while we may grieve things, we also rejoice because we have a beautiful Savior that is with us at all times. You're present and you're always near. And Father, we do reflect, we take a moment again to reflect on what's going on in Afghanistan, Lord, these innocent children and families, God, and our Americans, God. Lord, it looks like a catastrophe, but Lord, we know that you can move mountains in the middle of anything. So we ask you to please help bring all those home that need to come home. And, you know, even our soldiers, our boots on the ground, Father, what would we do without them? We ask you to bless them and their families that are at home while they're there sacrificing. And for our country and our nation, we still love the United States of America. We still respect and honor our flag. And more importantly, we serve a Lord that is amazing, that is mighty. You're the King of Kings. You're the Lord of Lords. And we honor you, Jesus, always and forever. Thank you for the conversation today, the harmony, the networking. Thank you for all that you're planning to do and all that you do for us. It's in your holy name we pray, Jesus. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Absolutely.
Okay, so let me go to, I've got the agenda here. I'm gonna go a little bit out of order though, because I want to give Brady the most amount of time. And so I just kind of wanted to let everybody know, first of all, that Los Barrios Amarillo is celebrating 50 years. I've mentioned this every month, I'm sure, but we're celebrating 50 years, and we are going to hold our event virtually on October the 14th. We have decided to do it virtually, not that, you know, the city of Amarillo has asked us to, or of course our state or nation. We just want to be safe. And so please look forward to it. It's going to go live on Facebook and YouTube at 11:45 on October the 14th. And we've got some big surprises. And also the Wesley Community Center is celebrating 70 years and will be holding their Una Gran Cena also. And Jerry, if you're still there, maybe you want to speak to that. Do you have any news to share?
Yeah, we were trying to hold off till Labor Day to announce it, but it looks like we're probably not going to be having it in the gym this year. So, but I'll have more news by the next meeting, but it looks like it's probably going to be maybe the same direction. We've got some things maybe in the works that a little different, but really hard to say. Now we've got 2 or 3 things we're working on.
Yeah, so I think that a lot of organizations probably are in the same boat. So anyways, be looking for more information. You can find it on both of our Facebook pages about how things are going to go. Also, I wanted to let you guys know that, you know, these organizations, Los Barrios and Wesley, wouldn't exist without your donations. And Panhandle Gives campaign through the Amarillo Area Foundation starts November 2nd, runs through December the 1st. And so what that means is if you give during those 9 days and give to the Amarillo Area Foundation, which distributes it to all of us nonprofit organizations. I'm sure, Brady, you're part of that as well. Well, I know you are, for Square Mile Community Development. And I'm just making these numbers up, but let's say you donate $100. it gets amplified. And so that $100 could possibly turn into 125, 150. We don't know the exact numbers until all of the money comes in, but it's just a great time to give. And especially when sometimes we're not able to continue our fundraising efforts as what happened last year. And so just wanted to give a heads up on that. Does anybody else have any other announcements for their organizations, places of business, or anything that they'd like to share? Okay, then we will just move on. I am going to introduce Mr. Brady Clark. He is the executive director, founder, all that good stuff of, oh, what happened to my computer? I don't know what y'all are seeing. Pictures of my grandson. Hold on.
Still the
Nope.
agenda.
Okay. I didn't mean for that to pop up.
He's a cutie, that's okay.
While I'm looking for this, if you guys have anything that you'd like to announce, this is a great time to do it.
Well, I will chime in really quickly. As you all know, everybody wants to hire someone. So at A&B, we have been looking at lots of applicants. Oh, Edna, I think, can you hit mute?
Okay, yes. You want this to start?
Thanks, sweetie.
Okay.
We are always looking for solid applicants. So if you know someone out there, whether it be a college kiddo or long-term longevity, you know, it's interesting. Every industry is dealing with this right now. So in banking as well. So, you know, we're always looking at people and we're not getting as many applicants as we used to. So just spread the word. We always need good people, especially if they're trying to get their foot in the door and start as a teller and move their way up like I did.
That's right. That's right. Thank you, Jennifer. Thank you for sharing that.
And Brady, Brady, before we begin, I just wanted to mention a shout out for our Step Up to Success, which is now Epic. It'll take place on November the 10th, and it will also be virtually.
Yeah. And we did it virtually in March and we learned a lot. And so we are it's going to be bigger and better than it was in March for sure. But thank you for that reminder, Tina. Okay, well, I am going to go ahead and introduce our speaker, Mr. Brady Clark. Many of you know him, and if you don't know him, you've probably heard of him. I won't say he's a legend. I feel like his dad's a legend because his dad and I worked together many years ago. I've known him for a long time, but I know, Brady, you're becoming a legend in your own right. Anyways, Brady has over 20 years experience in working with multicultural, underserved, high-risk individuals and communities. He has directed both faith-based and secular nonprofit organizations working towards community and individual transformation, empowerment, and strength-based development. He is the co-founder and executive director of Square Mile Community Development and director of Urban Ministries at First Presbyterian Church of Amarillo. He has a great program to talk about what he's doing for his organizations, but more importantly, our community. Please help me welcome Mr. Brady Clark.
Hey, y'all. First of all, thanks, Mary. We may go with my dad in legendary status. I might be more closer to infamous, maybe, than legendary. But no, thank you guys. I'm happy to be here. I love Los Barrios. I think it's a wonderful organization, and I've been very privileged and I feel very honored to have been involved in a lot of different things with the organization. And it's always something that I really look forward to and just appreciate the work that you continue to do in our community. So we're going to talk a little bit just about what we do and the programs that we're doing. So Square Mile Community Development is the organization co-founded about 5 years ago, very small. And we started working with the goal of community development. The issue that we saw, and I've been doing this type of work, I'm 45, been doing this for, almost 25 years, working in inner city, under-resourced communities here in America and internationally. And, you know, what the common theme that we keep seeing is that we are addressing a lot of symptoms of deeper problems. And I know many of you guys understand this and see this and have experienced this in the different programs and the different things that different organizations are doing. And when we're addressing the symptoms, first of all, that's necessary. You have to address the symptoms of some of these more endemic problems that we deal with in our communities. But if all we're doing is addressing symptoms, that we're never really getting to solve anything. And we're not ever making any change that in our communities that really needs to happen. We may affect individual families, but we're not affecting neighborhoods and communities. So about 5 years ago, a group of us, a bunch of pastors, myself, we all started talking. And we thought, let's see if we can start something that really focuses on trying to deal with changing and developing communities that may have been neglected or maybe kind of outside the scope of the focus of Amarillo. And so we started really with San Jacinto for a lot of reasons. One, we have a lot of historic ties to San Jacinto. Personally, I have a lot of ties to San Jacinto. My granddad was born on a kitchen table about 4 houses off of 6th Street back in the day, and grew up in, they had a grocery store here in town, and they talk about what 6th Street was like and what the neighborhood was like, back in the early days. And then on a little bit more colorful note, when I was a colorful teenager, call it that, and 16 years old, and I left home. The only place you could pretty much rent a house guaranteed in Amarillo, if you were like a blue-haired punk 16-year-old kid in the early 90s, was San Jacinto. So, lived in San Jacinto, got in a lot of trouble, did a lot of shady stuff in San Jacinto before kind of figuring out that I needed to change directions in life. So personally, I've lived in this neighborhood, been very involved in this neighborhood. And so we thought, San Jacinto is a great neighborhood to kind of base our work out of. We called our organization Square Mile Community Development because San Jacinto is almost exactly a square mile, so it fit. We're not dedicated solely to San Jac. We work in a lot of different communities across Amarillo. We've worked including in Mexico. Right now, we're helping do some programming in Uganda. So we do a lot of different things, but our heart and our focus is here at home in San Jacinto and in Amarillo and in our area and our region. So part of our philosophy of Square Mile is we believe that if a neighborhood's going to be healthy, there's 5 key components that make that work. So the first one is you have to have access to education. So education is a big deal. Second is economic development. You have to have economic opportunities, and there has to be some kind of economic growth in the neighborhood to make it healthy. Third is housing. You've got to have access to housing. You've got to have good housing, and you have to have access to becoming a homeowner. So we all know, especially if you look at the trends nationally, if you look at the trends historically, if you have a neighborhood that has very high rates of rentals, you're always going to see that neighborhood in the negative, part of the statistics. So the higher rate of home ownership in a neighborhood typically signifies a better and healthier neighborhood in terms of, health, crime, sexually transmitted, things, education, all those types of issues. The fourth, of our kind of 5 key things is health and wellness. You've got to have access to health. You have to have good food. You've got to have, a culture that is facilitating things that are overall holistic health. So we don't just mean physical health. We're also talking about mental health and some of those issues. And the final thing, and this comes because, I am a pastor, I've been a missionary, I've done all kinds of things. So part of our, 5 key areas that not everybody agrees with, but this is part of who we are, is spiritual care. So we believe that if you want to have a healthy neighborhood, you have to have access to spiritual care. Now, we are not explicitly, an organization that has any kind of, explicit faith, goal to it. We're not here to proselytize. We're not here to do any of that. But our heart is that people would be spiritually healthy. And that means if, whatever your belief system may be, we want you to have access. And if you don't have a spiritual belief system, we kind of go back to the fact that we want people to have the emotional and, community support to meet the needs that they may have. So that's who we are with Square Mile. We have a few different programs. We have an urban farm program. That's how we started out. So if you drive down 6th Street, kind of by almost to Sam Houston, you see a couple of really brightly colored, beautiful shipping containers that our friends at Blank Spaces did for us. And we have had an urban farm project going on for about 3 years over there, 3.5 years. And we produce 8 to 10,000 pounds of fresh produce, organic produce every year. That goes out to the community. We sell it at markets. We supply different restaurants. And we have that as a model to help people basically supplement their income through being able to be backyard farmers and doing things like that. The program that I want to talk about today is our PATH program. Our PATH program is something that we started in partnership with the Amarillo Area Foundation in about 2017, 2018. The Amarillo Area Foundation, a bunch of the banks came in. We had a big meeting with Liz and Manny and myself and a few other folks talking about what are some of the main things that our community needs that the banks and the foundation can get behind. Unanimously, we all said 2 things: housing and economic development. We said those are 2 of the main issues that are not really being addressed in our neighborhoods. We have a lot of great things going with education, we have health, we have a lot of that, but economic development and housing were 2 areas that we really didn't have anybody focusing on in our community. So after talking, the foundation, the banks kind of got back and said, hey, we want to focus on economic development. So, that was that. We had a good meeting, it was all good. I sent an email and said, hey, listen, I don't know what you want to do, but that's one of our areas with Square Mile that we want to focus on. So we want to be involved. Foundation got back to me and said, cool, love for you to be involved. How about you write us a program and can you have it to us in about 2 weeks? So of course it was like, yeah, we can do it in 2 weeks, no big deal. So we developed a program called PATH. PATH is a very specific program that is geared towards helping low income women and minority owned and veteran owned businesses and entrepreneurs. So we wanted to focus on folks that may not be within the scope of our normal business community in Amarillo. Now, I'm not saying we don't have lots of, minority owned businesses, people of color owned businesses, anything like that. But if you look at the majority of larger business, and if you look at the majority of what we would call our economic backbone of Amarillo, you see some groups less represented than others. And so with us, looking at the neighborhoods that we're working in, specifically, it was the Heights, it was San Jacinto, South Lawn, it was Eastridge, it was the Barrio. We said, hey, listen, we know that there's a lot of amazing business people. We know that there's a lot of people who have incredible hustles that do all kinds of work, that are incredibly skilled, that have wonderful things to offer the general community, but they don't necessarily have the skill set, or they don't necessarily have the access to take those small businesses and expand them out and really grow them. So we wanted to focus on that. PATH specifically stands for 4 things. So the P stands for personalized. Every single one of our clients is different. Everybody we work with is different. They've got a different story. They have a different, skill set. They have different needs. So we wanted to make sure as we worked and developed this program that with every single one we worked with, it was personalized. No 2 clients look the same. And so the way that we address and deal with those situations is personalized to every individual. The second was accessible. This is a big deal. Not everybody can go to business school. Not everybody does well in college. Not everybody is a good classroom learner, but that doesn't exclude them from being a great business person just because they haven't had access to those resources that maybe somebody grew up, went to high school, went to college, and then went and got their master's, in business. They have more access to knowledge. They have more access to individuals that have power, have control, have influence. A lot of our clients that we were working with and a lot of the folks that we knew, they didn't have those relationships. They didn't have that skill set. They didn't have access to the people who could help them because they didn't have the connections. So we wanted to make sure that everything we did was accessible, that it was done in the neighborhoods we worked with. It was done in wherever place our clients were comfortable meeting. If that's their home, if that's McDonald's, if that's a little, mom and pop restaurant, if it's a coffee shop, it doesn't matter. We wanted to make sure our program was completely accessible to anybody who needed it. The third was targeted. Again, we wanted to make sure that we were hitting the people who we saw as having the biggest need to grow their businesses. So we wanted to target, our neighborhoods that were under-resourced or underserved. We wanted to target, our population that was statistically underrepresented in our business community. We wanted to target specifically women-owned businesses because we wanted to foster that type of equity and equality in our business community in Amarillo. And we wanted to target veterans because a lot of the times folks coming, veterans have a lot of access to resources, but not always the types of resources that will help them become successful in business. So we wanted to meet that need. And because, we felt, hey, listen, if you served our country, you deserve to have somebody come and to focus and to serve you and to put, and to invest in your life as well. So the final one, or final letter out of this, H, is holistic. This is a big part of our philosophy with PATH. Business is not just what happens when you're trying to, run a company, or it's not just about doing the work or making whatever you're making to sell. A business, especially as a small business owner, it is all consuming. And if any of y'all have your own businesses, or any of y'all have started up your own businesses, you know that it is something that, that infiltrates every aspect of your life. And if you are struggling, so one of our clients, one of the first clients we had, single mom with like 5 kids, trying to get a restaurant and food stuff going on. She's got 5 kids, from littles all the way up. And with, a household with children from that age group having vastly different needs, and having a woman who is trying to go to school, do a business, and be a mom all at the same time, and do it more or less on her own, that is going to affect how well she is able to get her business up and going. So if we wanted to support business and see her business thrive, we need to look at her situation holistically and see what we needed to doing to help her as an individual and as a woman meet the needs that she may have. That may be transportation, it may be childcare, it may be any of those types of things. But if we don't look at the individual holistically, we really can't address their business. I think the other aspect that's really obvious to a lot of us is we all have different skill sets. We're all really good at some things, and we are all horrible at other things, right? And that's just the way we are. So if we look at a client holistically, what we're saying is, hey, we see that you are amazing at A, B, and C, but we also see that you struggle over here, over here, and over here. So we want to focus on the strengths that you have and build on those, but we want to work through our program to try and address those weaknesses and try and support that and build into those to kind of negate the negative aspect of those and to bring those up, not to make them excellent at something, but just to be able to make sure it's not a hindrance to what they're doing. So that's kind of the philosophy of what we do with PATH. We've evolved this. This was started under the Amarillo Area Foundation. We ran this program under the foundation for a couple of years. And then right at the beginning of COVID, we took PATH, and it now is under the Square Mile Community Development umbrella. So we work with the foundation still quite a bit, but this is our program that we own now. We had a program that was very structured. We had, you're going to do this part for 3 months, this part for 6 months, this part for another, 4 or 5 months afterwards. And it was very structured. It had, we have a curriculum that we built and that we wrote. We have a website, which is pathtobusiness.org. That website gives a lot of information, some client stories, and it kind of outlines our program. What we've learned over the years is that a very structured program works well for certain types of people, for certain types of personalities. And it works very well for people who need that type of structure or who will already have some of that in their lives. We also saw that the majority of our clients didn't function real well with structure and didn't really have a lot of structure in their lives. So we wanted to make sure, because being accessible was a very foundational, core value to us, that we didn't want to keep our program strictly within the bounds of this timeline. So we've kind of evolved over the past, couple of years. And so now we have a structured program, but we also have a much more loose and flexible approach to dealing with our clients. So what does that practically look like? Well, I don't know. I'll take one of our clients. He's a great guy, a guy named Paul Liao. And Paul has an incredible food truck that he just got up and going in the past couple of months, called Mi Gente. First of all, Paul is ridiculously talented. He's a 5-star chef. He's got family here, and he moved up here. He's a 5-star chef out of Dallas, moved up here, and wanted to start a restaurant. And so we helped him start a food truck on the way to hopefully his big dream of opening up his own restaurant. He's got an incredible story. Grew up in rough parts of Dallas, Grand Prairie, did the whole thing, rowdy kid, involved in all kinds of shady stuff, and literally was like watching TV, saw an ad for a culinary school, thought that looked cool, ended up going to culinary school. And that one thing ended up changing the whole direction of his life. I mean, he was bound for prison, the whole 9 yards. No telling what would have happened, but culinary school literally changed his life and gave him direction, focus, and passion. Paul has been in the restaurant industry and knows how to cook. He knows his business really well. So we didn't have to go in and help Paul with some of the basic stuff because he already knew it. He's been in this industry for a long time. What he did need was specific help related to how he was going to direct his business, connections, and some guidance while he was here, and help navigating that. So with Paul, we were able to help him, be a resource to him, work with him, but he doesn't need an in-depth big program that's going to last a year. He just needs targeted support for a certain season, and then accessibility so that we can be around to help him with other things. One of our other clients, a wonderful lady named Ruthie, she has a company called Black Fig Food. Somehow we ended up with a lot of food companies right now. But Black Fig Food is amazing. Ruthie was an artist turned chef, a musician. She's Hispanic and Native American. She is full of personality and color and passion and heart. And we love her so much. She already had a catering company here. She left to go be a personal chef for somebody, was out in Georgia, came back and realized she's got to start her whole business all over again. Sold off everything she had, put all of her eggs in one basket, and then moved back because of family to raise her kids and to be around more. And so she already, again, knows the business. She knows what she's doing. She's an incredible marketer. Her website, everything she does is just top of the line and beautiful. She didn't need that kind of help. What she needed was support. She needed connections. She needed somebody to help her with resources that she just didn't have access to, or the knowledge base to really take advantage of. So with Ruthie, we're able to come in and help her reestablish and rebuild, and continue to be there for her as a support and really an encouragement as much as she needs. Now, those two didn't require very much. They were already, honestly, incredibly professional and just at the top of their game in what they were doing, really. We take one of our other clients. She's another one and we're still working with her. We've been working with her for 3 years almost. Her name is Mary Gardner. Mary is one of the most beautiful, amazing women that I know. She is just all kinds of passion and love and heart. And you get her excited enough and she'll start crying and doing a Holy Spirit dance. And it does not matter if it's in the middle of a parking lot or whatever, she will get down. Mary is an older African-American lady. She's not quite to retirement age. She works for the city of Amarillo in the Parks Department. So she's always running around Thompson Park. She's out there on that crew. Mary has got, I think, 7th grade education, 7th or 8th grade education. So she never went to high school. She never got that. She never graduated. She tried many, many times over the years to get her GED and just could not do it. Mary is amazing. She's sharp. She has had a really hard life in a lot of ways, but she has overcome so many things. Mary, started a side business as a pooper scooter. And honestly, it's a great little niche in Amarillo because we don't have a lot of that service. And so she was able to come in and provide a service. She's making good money off of it. But that woman knew zero about business, and she had no skill set in terms of some of the basic things to handle her own personal finances, let alone, keep track of her books for the business. So we were able to partner her up with one of the VPs over at Happy State Bank, who continues to work with her every other week. They become really good friends, and we love that. And help get her personal finances, help get her out of debt personally, help her learn how to market and, put a logo, put advertisements for a business, help her get on Facebook. She didn't know how to do Facebook. She did not know how to do social media. She did not know how to work technology whatsoever unless it was her phone. It's got her a tablet, got her a laptop, trying to help her become not computer like fluent, right? Just literally, just basics, like open up an email, be able to respond to things, that type of thing. Mary, we've been working with her for a long time, and we have seen her get out of debt. We have seen her learn how to save her money. We have seen her grow her business. And hopefully within the next few years, by the time she retires from the city with benefits and all that fun stuff, her business is almost there right now. Will be able to provide her full income of what she was making, in fact, better income than what she makes with the city by doing this. So we've been able to help her with her long-term goals of building her side hustle into a full-time job that allows her to be completely financially independent and to be able to hire people and know how to work through that whole situation. Now, if Mary, having a 7th grade, 8th grade education, being, a felon, been to prison, done all the things, not savvy with social media, any of that. If she can build a successful business and learn how to manage that and grow her business without going to business school, without going and doing all the classes, if she can do that, anybody can do it. And we believe that very, very solidly. You don't have to have the newest things. You don't have to have the personal, knowledge to do everything. You just need to be able to have a support system around you that allows you to grow and allows you to mature. So a lot of what we do through our PATH program is connect people. Now, I've been a nonprofit for 25 years. I've been a director, I've been a missionary, I've ran missions organizations. I've done things here, I've done things all over the world. Here's what I'm not. I'm not a business person. I have never, built a company and made $1 million or anything like that. Like, that's not me. I'm a nonprofit guy. I'm a community guy. I want to help people. I want to see, communities healthy, people transformed. I want to see light in darkness, all that fun stuff. So I don't have this vast business knowledge. Now, I got a degree in theology and cultural anthropology. There's no business in either of those things, all right? Unless it's a business at church, but that's a different conversation. So what we don't know, what Donna, who works with me, who's on there on this call as well, what Donna and I don't have in our skill sets, we partner with and bring in other people. We partner with marketers, we partner with web designers, we partner with financial institutions, we partner with other folks who have resources that we don't have in order to really build a support system and connections and relationships between our clients and folks over there. Now, if you remember, one of our kind of key tenets is accessibility. Part of accessibility, especially in Amarillo, y'all know, is who you know. And that makes all the difference. So if we can help build relationships with our clients and folks that could help them, folks that could, work with them, we have now granted them access to a whole nother world that they didn't know existed. And that is part of what we want to see. Folks who grew up in San Jacinto, folks who grew up in the Heights of the barrio, they've got great relationships, family ties. They've got a whole network of people that they know. But sometimes that network does not span into Amarillo National Bank. It doesn't span into Happy State Bank. It doesn't span into somebody who's going to be a social media marketer for them or design logos or help them come up with a strategy to, to get their product or their services out there. We want to make those connections and bring those into our clients' social circles and knowledge bases that they can be supported and built into. Real quick, I'm going to focus on 2 clients right now. I've already talked about a few. One of them who I love so much, there is a shop. It used to be on the boulevard. It's almost like, it was like a closet of a shop right by North Heights, and it's called Golden Threads. Golden Threads is kind of a high-end urban fashion, urban streetwear clothing store. It was started by this guy, Armando, and Armando I love him so much. He's a great guy. Armando has this story, right? He started selling bootleg knockoff things out of the trunk of his car, all right? This is just straight up hood stuff. Like, I'm selling bootleg knockoffs out of my trunk, and that's how I'm gonna get up and get a side hustle going. He's doing, paintless dent repair. He's got a job, but he had a side hustle. He goes from doing that with a bigger dream. He ends up going to a trade show out in Vegas. And from going from his trunk, he goes in, gets a business, starts going legit, ends up pulling in brands by like Pharrell and all these high-end urban fashion brands that we don't carry, nobody else carries within 200, 300 miles of Amarillo. He goes with nothing but his personality and his vision and his charm, because he's charming, and gets going, puts these deals together, comes in and starts selling this high-end stuff. You're not buying a t-shirt for less than $50 in the shop, okay? And in this place, he's selling grills. He's got a Jewish jeweler in Houston that's like selling gold, grills with diamonds in it. He's got high-end fashion, urban fashion in this little spot on the boulevard. We start working with him. We worked with him through the pandemic. Everything shuts down. We helped him get a bunch of grants. He ended up getting funding, worked with him to navigate through all that system. He ends up moving to the corner of 6th and Georgia in a really big, beautiful corner retail space. And if you drive down 6th Street, turn off at Georgia, go down, or McMaster's, drive down 6th Street, you'll see a big corner place, beautiful old Art Deco 6th Street building that says Golden Threads on it. Beautiful big plate glass windows. He is absolutely killing it. He started and moved into that new building almost a year ago, right? During the pandemic, everything's winding down, opened up, I think in December. January, his sales were through the roof. And he's added new brands. He's selling like high-end sneakers. He's doing all this. He is making money hand over fist, not because he didn't know how to do it, just because he didn't have the resources to take that little vision and take it to the next level. So that's where we came in. He's actually going to be starting a scholarship with us to help other high school kids have college money to be able to go into some specific things related to fashion, design, art, and some of those things, because he wants to give back. Armando is one of our favorite people because he not only has just pulled himself up from his bootstraps and just needed a little bit of help to navigate things he didn't know how to do. But he also has a heart to give back and to help kids and to see his community thrive. And those are the businesses we really believe in. One of our newest businesses that we work with, if you ever go out to the Amarillo Community Market, you need to go check it out. It's a woman named Martha. Her and her husband started a little thing called Martha's Minis. Now, I know all of you eat completely healthy all the time and never eat junk food, right? But if you do want to have a little splurge and a little treat, check out Martha's Minis on Instagram, all that kind of stuff. But she does these little mini pancakes, like little silver dollar style pancakes. And she's got them in a cup. She's got them on the things. And she adds ice cream, fruit, everything from like Fruity Pebbles. She's got one that's like bacon and strawberries and all this. And they come in these little cups. And they are absolutely amazing. Her and her husband both work at Target. They work nights. They've worked there for a long time. They both have full-time jobs. But she had a dream. And she wanted to start doing this, started doing it on the side. Didn't know how to navigate the city health department, didn't know how to navigate any of the codes, didn't have any idea how to get her product out past her circle of friends and coworkers. So we've been able to come in with her, help navigate through all the city things, help her, give her direction, work with her on her finances, her profit and loss, all those types of things. And she is right now looking to in the near future be able to quit her job and do this full time, which is what her dream is. So we love her to death. Her husband's a veteran, Hispanic couple. They're just amazing folks. And, you know, for us too, they epitomize a lot of what we look for. So here's what we will do. We will hold your hands. We will walk with you. We will help you learn the things you don't need to do. We will, if you're intimidated to go in a bank, we will go to the bank with you. We will do all that stuff and put our arms around you and walk with you and do all the things. What we won't do is do anything for you. And that's part of our philosophy. We will help people, but the folks who really have the drive and the determination and the hustle, those are the ones who are going to make it, and those are the ones we're going to invest in. We will give everybody, and we will invest in every single person who's referred to us, who we meet, who we do, you know, who we're involved with. But we don't do things for folks. We do invest. We do, like, if they don't have enough money to get their LLC, if they don't have enough money to pay for a new logo or new branding, we'll cover half of their expenses, but they're going to pay for half of them. So that's kind of what we do. Most important thing about our program is it's free for our clients. We don't charge for anything. We work closely with the SBDC. We work closely with a lot of the other resources in town, but we do this as a way to help foster economic development in our community. And we believe that those who are struggling to get on their feet don't need to have to be paid to get charged for one more thing. They're already getting charged for everything else. If we're going to see our communities thrive, we have to invest in those folks, and we have to make it accessible for those that may not be able to afford it. So that's our PATH program. In the past 3 years through the pandemic, we've been rolling. If you have folks, if you know folks that have a little side hustle, that are trying to maybe grow an existing business that they already have and take to that next level, feel free and refer them to us. We have been able to help a lot of people in some big ways, and we've been able to help a lot of folks in just giving advice and guidance and kind of being somebody who was in their life for a season, help them get to the next level, and then they are running and gunning and don't have any need for us at all. We value the person over the business and all things. Our goal is not to see a bunch of big businesses. Our goal is to see individuals thriving. We want to see families successful. You know, we want to see, like, some of the folks, we want to see those generations changed. So if mom goes from not having a high school education to struggling to working minimum wage jobs to having her own business and being an entrepreneur and being a business owner, you have just changed the course of the family. She's shown her kids that she can do something different, that she doesn't have to follow one path, that she can branch out and be more than what people may assume that she is. So that's where our heart is with this. We love to do it. We do with Square Mile. We got a bunch of other stuff that we do as well, but this is really part of what we feel the most strongly about, is seeing economic development in some of our underserved communities. And this is our little way of seeing that happen. So that's that. You guys got questions? I'm happy to answer them.
Not a question, Brady. I just love you. Thank you for everything you do. You're amazing.
You're a cheerleader. I'm gonna keep you around.
Thank you. Well, and I bug you all the time. So I'm like, I know you're busy all the time. But real questions, I will mute.
Dude.
I know there's got to be questions, because Brady covered a lot of information, you guys, and talked about a lot of businesses that he's helped. And Brady, I obviously need help in Facebook because I couldn't find all of the pages, but I see one of them is just on Instagram only. But you guys definitely, it's so important for us to start to not serve the local community, but go there, go visit their businesses, buy from them. Local is so good. As Brady mentioned, people are not good at everything. We're good at a lot of things, but we're not good at everything. It takes a community of all of us helping each other. So I guess I challenge everybody to get to know each other that's on here, get to know what we all do. I love the stories, Brady. I love the educational component, of course, being Los Barrios. We strive for higher education, whatever that might look like. Like you said, not everybody's college bound, not everybody is trade school bound, but they are entrepreneurial bound. So it's really important. But yes, does anybody have any questions for Brady? Now's the
There was
time
a
to ask.
couple there. Teresa asked a question on the chat, and then Gloria wants to reach out to Brady regarding a potential business.
Oh, yay.
So there's a
Potential
couple things at the
client.
bottom of the chat there.
Yeah, hallelujah, for sure.
I put my email and phone number. I'm just gonna disclose this. We love Brady. Jennifer, you know this. Text me.
Yes.
Good.
I got
I also
you.
had a question. Can you hear me? This is Tina.
Yes.
I know that you mentioned about starting off and grant funding from Emerald Area Foundation. What other organizations do you work closely with? Because something that you had mentioned as far as, getting people started off the ground. And Katie, you might be able to speak to this as well. Do you all collaborate or coordinate with other organizations that do something similar?
Yeah, so Katie and I have, we've worked together. In fact, one of our clients, Annalisa, with Casino on the Go and Freshbox, she was in need of funding, small business loans and some of that. And Katie with Communities Unlimited, there's a lot of parallels between what we do, but them being a CDFI have access to small business funding for folks who may not be able to get that same type of funding from one of our banks or one of our more established financial institutions. A CDFI is often geared towards, especially their small business development, our same target kind of population in areas, and has a lot more flexible funding in some ways to help start some of our small businesses. We will work with the clients and get them going, and then oftentimes we will refer them over to Katie and Communities Unlimited to help give them access to funding if that's what they need. Some of our folks need funding, some of them absolutely do not. And so we just kind of work with that. We work, again, foundation still. We've been able to work with even some national organizations, the Center for Disaster Relief out of Washington, D.C. has helped us with specific funding to help economic recovery for small businesses because of COVID. So that has been a big deal with us to do that. We work with WT's Enactus program, very, very closely with them. It's in their business school. And there's just a lot of folks. We have very close relationships, especially with Amarillo National and Happy State. We continue to work with them quite a bit in terms of resources and funding in different areas. So we are always looking to expand to work more with. We are about collaboration. We know that this is not something that we can do alone, and the problem is bigger than any one organization. So part of doing community development is being community. And that means working together as much as we can.
That's
One thing
wonderful.
that I did want to mention as well, that we started and then the pandemic hit and just screwed it all up, is we were working with the SBDC because we all have a focus, like Mary was talking about. Not everybody is college bound or trade school bound, but some kids are natural entrepreneurs. And I mean, I'm being really honest and candid. You show me a dope dealer on the corner, I'm going to show you an entrepreneur, right? If that kid can sling dope, he can sell anything. It's just getting them and building them and taking them and refocusing that natural skill set they may have, taking it off of a negative path and putting it into something positive that they can believe in and own and find fulfillment in. So we wanted to, and we still do, one of our goals with Path is to actually start working with high school kids, in that age range, to help them, for those who have an entrepreneurial bent, to help give them some guidance and help push into that. In partnership with the SBDC and some of those things. So that's a goal, that's a vision. We're not doing it right now. We're about to start doing it, and then COVID threw everything off. So we would love to continue, and we want to continue a partnership and make some things happen with that as well.
Thank you for answering that. And I see that Teresa has a question concerning the garden, but lastly, real quickly, hopefully you'll be taking any volunteers or doing any type of apprenticeship, or even for students to do internships. And do you have bilingual staff?
So we don't have bilingual staff because we don't have staff. It's just me and Donna. So that is it. We do have volunteers, and that is one of the things that we continuously work with. As we've worked with even some of the banks, we've tried to make sure that some of the bankers that we work with bilingual bankers to help ensure that access is there. for folks that are not native English speakers. We've actually started, we have a whole project working with refugees as well. And so we have a project helping to start refugee businesses. And, when you're talking about 36, 38 different dialects and languages going on, that is not something that we can do in-house. So we partner with and bring in volunteers to really focus on that and to invest in that. We coach coaches sometimes because that's what needs to happen.
Okay, so Teresa Kennedy had a question about how is the garden coming along, and do any of your path people work with the garden?
Hi, Teresa. So the garden is going great. Summertime, spring through summer, COVID was really good. We did a lot. I mean, I say COVID was really good. That sounds bad. COVID was not good, but the garden was good through COVID. How about that? We've made a lot of improvements and we're still producing. We always hit kind of a slow time at the end of July through August because it's just the heat slows everything down a bit, but we're still producing. We don't have any specifically that work out the garden. We have helped start a couple other urban farms that we've kind of informally worked with, but we have some of the food we've been pushing towards some of our path clients that need it for their restaurants or for their food businesses, but nothing specifically. It's kind of, the garden's been a little bit of a standalone, separate from path.
So another question that Donna has answered, but do you guys help with nonprofits? And Donna has mentioned that, and you have mentioned that you, yes, start many nonprofits and collaborate. And you alluded to that whenever you were talking about Communities Unlimited with Katie. But I heard you, whoa. My next appointment's coming up, I guess. Anyways, I heard you say that sometimes you coach the coaches. And so maybe that's something, if you're a nonprofit, that Brady can help with is coaching your team. I don't know. Is that what you're talking about, Brady?
We've done that. Yeah. I mean, that's kind of part of, we do a lot. I'm also work at First Presbyterian. So I'm the director of urban ministries there. So we work with a lot of churches and a lot of groups. And folks in starting nonprofits, as well as really looking and assessing their programs and seeing if they're really meeting needs, and really trying to help kind of coach and guide in terms of that. We don't know everything, we don't pretend to know everything, but we do. We're good at boots on the ground stuff, and we're good at helping make sure that we're really trying to be as effective as possible in what we do. So we do help with that. And we most definitely, if we have somebody who's investing in a community and we can do something to help them to invest in their community, by all means, that's kind of what we live for.
Yeah. Well, that's amazing. So everybody remember, PATH is personalized, accessible, targeted, and holistic. That's a great way to go. Thank you so much, Brady. Does anybody else have any other questions? It is 12 o'clock, but I'm sure he wouldn't mind taking another question or two if anybody has one.
What's your contact information?
Donna can put it over in the chat over on the side, but everybody in Amarillo, I think, has my cell phone number. So my number is 806-674-0439.
Thank you for sharing that, Brady. And I think you're right. I think everybody in Amarillo has it or knows how to get a hold of you. I mean, Facebook, right?
Facebook.
Thank you. Thank you, Brady. Thank you so much for sharing your story today. Thank you especially for looking at folks who have a hard time getting started, but have a vision. You make their visions come to life. We all need to remember that you're right. Whenever you say somebody who's selling on the corner is an entrepreneur, you have to think about it that way. Everybody has it in them. Sometimes we just have to draw it out and help them along to make them successful. And Brady, you have done so much for so many businesses, and we all appreciate you. Thank you for your time. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. Next month, our guest speaker will be Teresa Kennedy. She is with the Barrio Neighborhood Planning Committee, and so many good things are happening in the barrio, you guys. And this committee is working hard to make it pretty, one, but also make it safe. And so she'll talk about what they're doing to make it a safe neighborhood and how they're getting everybody excited. So I hope you guys join us again next month. And we will, if you need us for anything, we're on Facebook, Los Barrios de Amarillo, or losbarriosdeamarillo.org. Give us a call.
You know when that next
Oh.
meeting will be?
Yes, let me look. I say yes, but off the top of my head. How about Wednesday, September the 22nd at 11 o'clock, again on Zoom. One day we'll be able to meet in person like we used to, but for now it's Zoom. So thank you,
The fourth
everybody.
Wednesday of the month, fourth Wednesday of the month.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks. Bye-bye.